Sup? It's Hallie. Welcome back to Within. When we last left off, we were just getting started in what is basically Act 1, but Monica's are up. So anyway, I then feel the air quickly leave my lungs as a pair of arms suddenly clamp around you, fool.
Hey, Hallie!
Sayori's voice rings into my ears. Hey, Sayori. I struggle to get my words out as I wriggle my way to freedom. Yuri then approaches me, a warm yet timid smile on her face.
Glad to see you didn't run away on us, Hallie.
I chuckle, returning the smile. You don't have to worry about me doing that. Besides, how could I run from a place as comfy as this? Natsuki soon interjects with a mix of her regular sass and a grin.
Don't get too comfy, though. You won't hear the end of it.
I know. Honestly, it's kinda amusing when Natsuki tries to be assertive. Though I have the feeling that if I said that, my nose would probably be the first to know it. Sayori lets out a giggle before speaking again.
Don't worry, Hallie. Or don't worry. Hallie always gives it his best when he's having fun.
There we go.
He even helps me with busy work without me asking.
She then audibly counts everything I've helped her with.
Cooking, cleaning my room.
She eventually loses her train of thought.
How dependable.
Yuri smiles gently at the pair of us.
I might be a little jealous if I'm honest.
I chuckle, feeling my cheeks redden. To be fair, this isn't the first time someone might have gotten the wrong impression about Sayori and I's friendship. No, Yuri, no. It's not like that at all. I smile back at her. Her room gets a bit distracting when it's messy. I then turn to Sayori. Not to mention the little incident with the bacon last week. Sayori glares jokingly and pouts, and apparently vanishes.
Can we not bring that up?
I then whisper to Yuri. Yeah, she almost set her kitchen on fire. Yuri giggles gently. After that, everyone departs to what I assume are their usual activities. Natsuki's rummaging around in the closet. Sayori's having a cheery conversation with Monica in the corner, and Yuri's face is buried within quite a sizable novel. Her intense expression hints that she's been longing for this moment. Speaking of novels, I should probably pick up a book to read. After all, I did join a literature club. It's really the least I can do. I walk to the back of the room and start scanning the books located there. My eyes scan each title on the various spines. I mumble to myself, keeping my voice as quiet as possible, as to not distract the girls. Exit music, no. Fallen Angel, no. I keep going until my eyes meet on a peculiar-looking spine. You mean come to rest on it? Yeah, I go to pull the book off the shelf to check out the book more thoroughly. That is until I feel a hand tap my shoulder and I spin around, quite honestly taken aback. It's just Sayori. I keep my voice low. Jesus, Sayori, you startled me. Sayori just giggles proudly before speaking.
Monica wants to ask you something.
She then practically drags me by my arm to the front of the class where, as suggested, Monica is waiting for me. Any harder and she might have yanked my arm clean off. Monica closes her notebook and looks up at me, smiling once more.
Hey, Hallie.
Hey, Monica. I find myself blushing. Sayori gives me a sly glance that simply says, I knew it, but Monica doesn't seem to notice. Sayori says you wanted me for something?
Yeah, I do actually.
Monica steps up from the desk and gets near me and Sayori.
I was gonna get some supplies from the arts department, and I was wondering if you'd maybe want to tag along.
The way she says that sends butterflies down my stomach. But at the same time, I can't help but think, or help to think. Well, wouldn't Sayori be better for that?
But,
You were saying something, Sayori, and then auto-ending text box is struck again.
But I'm still designing.
She stops herself and then lowers her voice a bit, as to not get the attention of Natsuki and Yuri.
Well, the posters.
I decide not to press either of them on it just yet. In that case, I'd be glad. I smile at Monica. The look on Sayori's face from earlier remains. Maybe this can give us a bit more time to talk? Monica beams at me.
I promise we won't be too long.
Honestly, I'd love to spend as much time as I can with her. Monica then turns her attention to Sayori.
You don't mind watching the club whilst we're gone, right? Well, I am the vice president after all.
Sayori teases playfully before plopping herself at the front desk. And with that, Monica lets Natsuki and Yuri know that the pair of us will be back in a bit before we make our way to the corridor. Once outside, I notice Monica looking back into the club with a not-so-subtle smile on her face.
It's just so relaxing in there.
I can't help but smile too. It is. I'm guessing that's part of the reason you started it in the first place. Monica turns to me.
Honestly, yeah. Most of the other clubs were mostly just arguing over publicity and the budget and the festival. Not to mention the drama.
She chuckles as she looks back internally. Internally? Like, in the second year, you must have been part of every major club there was. And if I remember right, weren't you in the debate club at the start of this year? Monica laughs as we start walking down the hall.
Oh god, don't get me started on debate club. Worst mistake of my life.
The worst mistake of your life so far. As we get further, the conversation only grows. It's not too long till Monica's letting me know how most of the bigger clubs aren't all that they're cracked up to be. Eventually, we end up talking about the literature club once again.
I'd rather take something I personally enjoy and make something special out of it.
Her enthusiasm is just about as contagious as her smile. In that case, I'm surprised more people haven't joined yet. It is true, though. I mean, I know a literature club doesn't sound too exciting, but for me, it's only fair to judge a club by its members, and at least from what I can tell, everyone else in the club seems really nice and close with each other. Oops, by it is members. Monica speaks again.
That only makes events like the festival that more important.
That much more important?
Hopefully we can all grow the club before we graduate.
A thought pops into my head. So after that, would Natsuki become president or something? Monica giggles.
Oh, no. Natsuki's in the same year as the rest of us.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, don't apologize. She gets that all the time.
We keep walking until we reach the door to the art department. It's a section of the school I've not visited since the first year. To be honest, I was never really any good at art in the traditional sense, being more creative with computers and music software, so I dropped out of it the start of the second year. I noticed Monica peeking through the door, presumably checking if there's a club going on or something.
We're clear.
Monica calls me over as she opens the door, and I quickly follow her inside. Monica's already made her way to the supplies closet and has started searching. I, on the other hand, just idly stand there whilst taking the occasional glance at her. Eventually she breaks the silence.
Hey, could you hold this a sec?
She holds out a small pile of cardstock. I take it and she thanks me with the same sweet smile she's always had. In a way, I'm glad we're doing this out of normal school hours. God only knows the kinds of rumors that would spring up if anyone outside the club saw us alone in a classroom. Although, admittedly, the thought of us... I was having a lewd thought there, Moni. The thought of us making out in a barren classroom feels kinda...
Hallie?
Monica's curious tone snaps me out of my little daydream.
You okay?
Yeah, I just spaced out a bit. I stammer as I try to cover my back. Luckily, she seems to buy it.
No worries.
She giggles as she steps out of the closet and shuts the door behind her.
It happens to the best of us.
I can't imagine you doing it. I chuckle.
Well...
She traces the edge of a desk with her finger, as if tracing back her thoughts.
It happened to me before. Hell, once Zuri first came to the club, she got me napping on the front desk.
Well, forgot your punctuation there, bud. Now that sounds more like Sayori than you, Monica. I decide to tease her a bit.
Coffee only gets you so far, you know.
She's right about that. Honestly, outside of the club, Monica seems really genuine and down-to-earth. Part of me wonders if anyone else has this side of her. Has seen this side? I mean, I'm guessing that everyone else in the club hasn't. Her other friends have seen it.
I think we're all done here. Ready to head back?
Yeah. I make sure I've still got everything she's handed me, and we start making our way back upstairs. Woo. Why we didn't just use an elevator is beyond me, but I'm not complaining about spending more time with Monica. Before we start to reach the club room, I decide to ask about the track we listened to before club started. So, what did you think about the track from earlier?
I liked it.
Her eyes meet mine.
My only problem with it is that it's too short.
We both laugh a bit about that. I find myself blushing again. It's nothing, really. Besides, knowing you, you're probably better at music than I am.
I did practice piano a bit, but I wasn't any good at it.
I highly doubt that. We soon make our way back to the club room. Upon entering, not much has changed. Yuri's still focused on her novel, whilst Sayori and Natsuki are chatting near the windowsill. Sayori then notices us both and practically skips towards us.
You got everything you needed?
Both Monica and I nod.
Yup, honestly, Hallie was a real help.
I give a smirk. It's no problem, really. Natsuki then pipes up as Sayori collects everything and takes it to the front.
What took you two so long? Were you making out?
As much as I'd love that to have happened, I can't help but be a little bit taken aback by how sincere she sounded. I glance at Monica and we both share a blush. But the more I look at her, the more I see a faint smile being delicately painted across her face. Maybe deep down, she wanted that to have been a reality. Natsuki then focuses in on me. God, I can't talk to me.
Honestly, Hallie, I thought you'd be a pump-and-go kind of guy, but color me impressed.
She caps that off with an insanely cheeky smile. Auto-ending. Text boxes. Pump-and-go kind of guy. What is she? Oh! My face goes an even deeper shade of red, one that my nerdy brain can only describe as almost a cacodemon. My eyes widen as well. No, Natsuki, By the time I gather myself, Natsuki has already gotten closer to me and brings herself up to my ear. Well, as close as someone as short as her can get.
It's obvious you've thought about it.
I go to deny it, though thankfully I don't need to, as Natsuki's already trotted off safely back under the windowsill. Yuri looks over at her and sighs.
Please show some decency, Natsuki. No, I was only teasing.
Natsuki's voice whines as Yuri shakes her head. Can't deny that it was at least kind of funny. I don't have much time to settle down before Monica announces to the club.
Okay, everyone, it's time to share poems.
With that, Natsuki and Yuri reluctantly get their poems out of their bags, as do I. Sayori pulls hers of her pocket. Out of? Typical Sayori. Monica then walks over to me.
You remember to write a poem last night?
I did, yeah. I grumble. It was kind of the first thing I did when I got back. It's probably not any good. Monica then pats my shoulder.
Don't worry, I'm not really good at this either.
You sound pretty confident for someone who claims not to be good.
Well, that's because I have to sound confident. Doesn't mean I always feel that way, you know.
A faint blush then overcomes her cheeks.
Besides, I'm just looking forward to see how you express yourself.
The way she smiles at me, combined with how she said that last part, sends a rather pleasant feeling down my stomach. I can't describe it too well, but it feels really sweet. You too, Monica. She then strides off back to the front desk to get her notebook. Still feeling a tinge awkward about the whole scenario I've thrown myself into, I go to share my poem with Sayori. After all, she knows me better than anybody in this club does. With that in mind, I go over and sit in front of her. Hey, Sayori. Sayori smiles cheerily.
Oh, hey, Hallie. You ready to share your poem?
I guess. Once again, I find myself mumbling. God, this is embarrassing. I lower my head to the desk, only for Sayori to do the same, lowering her voice as well.
About the poem, or what Natsuki said about you and Monica?
About the poems! I respond quickly, keeping my voice low enough to not catch anyone else's attention. Afterwards, I place my head on the desk, only for Sayori to pat the back of my noggin.
I believe you, don't worry.
I look at her and I smirk, sliding my poem over to her. She flashes me a quick smile before starting to read my poem. In time, she finishes reading, looking quite proud.
This is a really good poem. It's got some nice feelings in it.
I chuckle with another smirk. You're just saying that.
No, I'm not. I mean it.
She sounds sincere. Thanks, Sayori. Surely I'm not as good as she's making out. I can't deny that it feels nice, though. Anyway, could I read your poem?
Go for it.
Sayori beams. I pick her poem off the table and begin to read it, yeah. The poem titled Dear Sunshine seems just like something you can imagine Sayori writing. The more melancholic connotations to the words aren't lost on me either. However, the last line makes me smile to myself. I want breakfast. I glance up at her. It's a pretty good. It's a pretty good. But did you write it this morning? She seems genuinely confused. In response, I turn the paper in her direction so she can read it and point to the line. Her eyes scan the paper until they finally meet my finger. She blushes a little.
I don't remember writing that.
I give her a reassuring smile. Come on, it's okay. She smiles back as I continue. Besides, if you think about it, it still works. Sayori cocks her head a little to the side. The way I'm thinking about it is that the subject of the poem is probably just waking up like they would any other day. Maybe the whole I want breakfast thing could be seen as them getting out of bed. She's nodding as if she's thinking it over.
That actually kind of makes sense. You're sounding a bit like Monica.
I feel myself blushing slightly. Nah, you're just saying that. I chuckle nervously, a part of me hoping that Monica didn't hear what she said. Sayori simply shakes her head, her grin never leaving her face.
Anyways, I'm gonna share with Natsuki now. In a bit.
In a bit. I wave back at Sayori as she starts chatting with Natsuki. I look back to Monica and notice that she's just finishing up with Yuri. Monica seemed quite eager to see my poem earlier, so it only makes sense that I should share with her next. Poem in hand, I get up and walk over. I give her a short wave and smile. Hey! Her eyes meet mine and she smiles sweetly at me.
Hey, Hallie, you having a good time so far?
I am, yeah. I take a seat right in front of Monica.
I'm glad.
I choose to ignore the fact that I have not really spend too much time inside the club room today, having spent the majority of my time here with her. But in all fairness, I'd be lying if I didn't say I was enjoying myself.
Also, since you were new and everything, if you ever have any ideas of other activities we could do or what we could do better, don't be afraid to let me know.
You know, there's like a third row in the text box that could have all been in one. Didn't have to whatever. Don't worry, I'll keep that in mind. Of course, I'm gonna be afraid to let her know. Besides, what experience do I have at organizing clubs? I'm better off just trusting Monica's judgment on things. Anyway, I guess I've got to show you my poem. I timidly slide the sheet over to her.
Yep. I've actually been looking forward forward to it.
To everyone's poems or just mine? She picks up the sheet and begins to read it with an intent expression. Minutes pass, more than enough time for her to finish reading the poem. My mind keeps telling me she hates it, but she eventually places the paper down and looks quite astonished.
Are you sure this is your first time writing poetry?
Yeah? I feel a bead of sweat trickle down my forehead. Is it that bad?
No.
Monica's tone shifts to a more apologetic one.
I didn't mean it like that.
Her cheeks redden a bit.
I just meant that it was pretty good.
Sayori saying that is one thing, but Monica, though? Nah, you can't be serious.
No, I am.
She smiles sweetly at me, causing me to smile back as well.
In a way, the language kind of reminds me of my own poems.
It does? I'm surprised at that comment. My writing's never been that great, even with my improving over the years. There's no way in hell that I could seriously compare to her work, though, right? She nods, sliding her notebook over to me, signaling me to read it. I focus in on the page. Her poem seems to tell the story of a person doing all they can to preserve the way that people think about them, no matter the strain on their mind. It's quite solemn, yet hopeful at the same time. By the end, there's the suggestion that one day they won't need to keep appearances up. I read it through a second time before looking back up at Monica, completely taken aback. I knew she'd be good at this, but this is something else. That was really great. Is that all you can say, Hallie? Monica smirks.
Glad you liked it.
As I hand her book back, a thought crosses my mind. Kinda curious, though. What was on your mind when you wrote this? Monica stops, silently mulling over what to say next. She takes a deep breath.
I'd say that over the years, I've noticed that some people have a habit of keeping up appearances just because people see them a certain way.
That's a little deeper than I expected. It does also remind me of certain people I've seen, mostly high schoolers. Go on.
Like, I wouldn't say I'm the best at reading people, but I at least think people like that may hate being held to such high standards.
She goes on, sounding like an expert. Then again, she's been around so many people over the years I have known her, so that very well may be the case. I take a sigh as I collect my thoughts. Honestly, that's partially what I thought it was about. Monica gives me a knowing smile.
Maybe we're more alike than you thought.
I seriously doubt that. All because we thought the same once can't mean much, right? Unless she remembers our discussions back in the class back then. Girl's mind is far better than mine, if that's the case. I decide to humor her. Maybe we aren't. We share a short laugh between us. That's something that takes me back fondly. She was the only person that made last year's English class bearable to get through. I guess that's why I always gravitated towards her for group work. Either that, or it's because she was probably the one person in that class that put up with my sorry ass. Maybe it's a bit of both, I don't fucking know. But that's in the past, I need to focus on now. Monica's the first to talk after our short laugh.
I was kind of worried you wouldn't take this seriously, but you surprised me.
I feel my face redden a bit. Hey, it's nothing it's nothing. I chose to be part of this club after all.
And I'm glad you are.
Thanks, Monica. My stammering side takes center stage again. Damn nerves.
Thank you for sharing.
I get up from my seat to figure out who to share with next. Since Sayori and Natsuki still seem to be in deep discussion, whether about the poem or something else is anyone's guess, I decide to share with Harry.